Okay, first off, we're going to start with the public hearing of the proposed 2023 budget for St. Clair County. Is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of the proposed 2023 budget? Yeah, you can speak now, or this is regarding our budget, or you can speak in the citizen be heard section. So it doesn't matter, whatever you'd like. Mary Conlon.
Hi, so I just have a couple of questions. When I was looking at, the paperwork, you had on there $215 for expenditure for the convention center. I had a hard time finding where your revenue that you brought in for that is at. So I didn't see that. Also in there, I did not see where you guys, anything brought forward where you brought in $31 million from the COVID money. I didn't see that on our balance sheet. I'm very disappointed to hear that 26 million left from the COVID money is possibly designated for the 26-mile road development. I don't know where it is on the paperwork. I'd like to see it in the budget. That 26-mile road belongs to a few townships. It should be divided among the commissioners for each township. Every single township has things that need to be done in it. And to dedicate it just to a few townships, if this is what you're planning on doing, I think every single commissioner that's outside of that 26-mile road should be fighting for their share of that $26 million that's left. I believe every single commissioner got $500,000 or $550,000. I'm not sure who's done what with it, but what I'd like to know is if the people were, your constituents were contacted and asked for ideas of what they wanted done with that $500,000. That's all I got.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to speak on the proposed 2023 budget? Kathy? I'm not sure if that was something.
Good evening. Thank you for having this hearing. This is not from me, this is from Helen. She couldn't make it tonight, so she asked me to read it. It's very quick. I cannot attend the hearing tonight. I'm concerned about the maintenance of the county buildings. Several months ago, the ceiling in room B across from the commissioner's room fell in during our meeting. Yeah, it did. It almost hit me. Other areas in county buildings need maintenance, such as the stairwells and the walls that need painting. Our buildings should always be in perfect condition. Has the budget increased for the maintenance department? If so, what was that based on? It certainly is not justified by what I see. It does not appear that preventive care is taken to keep major damage from happening. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to speak on the proposed 2023 budget? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and we are going to start our Board of Commissioners meeting. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner McConnell?
Present.
Commissioner Baldwin? Here. Commissioner Beeden?
Present.
Commissioner Dunn?
Present.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Van de Bosch? Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Here. Just so people know, Commissioner Van den Bosch's wife is actually getting sworn in this evening at the city council meeting. She is the mayor of Marine City, so he called and I said, take the night off. Item 3, additions, deletions, changes to the agenda.
And we have an addition, so at this time, I'll move to add Resolution 22-62, ratifying collective bargaining agreement, St. Clair County Prosecuting Attorneys Association, under new business as item 11AJ.
Support, Baldwin.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the agenda as revised.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 5, A and B.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve and file the minutes of 10/20/2022 commission meeting and the 11/3/22 standing committee meetings.
Support.
Thank you.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Item 6, proclamations. Seeing none. 7, consent agendas, item A through H.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 7A through 7H on the consent agenda.
Support, Dunn.
Carrie, just one quick, we touched about it before, the MMRMA, the renewal, which is our insurance. We're part of multiple counties. We risk pool, and then if there's not a lot of claims, there are refund checks that are awarded for that. What was the number last year? Couple $100,000?
For this year, we are receiving $618,000 back. That is larger than we have received in the past. MMRMA did indicate that that should not be expected each year, but we did have a good claims year last year.
Because don't we pay just like 900,000?
Our current renewal is $860,000.
And we're getting 6. Yeah, I've never seen a check that big. Okay, good news.
And then, Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes.
On the consent agenda to Mrs. Conlon's question, there is each meeting now, right? There's the ARPA spending report that shows which each commissioner has gotten, what they've spent, and that will be that's on every agenda. So it's found online under the agenda, so that report is there.
And just, I think the number that's still left's like 23.5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Okay, let's move on to reports. Oh, I'm sorry, consent agenda. Did I have a motion in a second? I'm sleeping. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Item 8, reports of standing special committees. I'm going to start with Mr. Rushing here.
I could talk about Wales. We'll be meeting at Riley Township Planning Commission, and they have, of course, their issue with solar over there. Liz Masters talked with me for about 50 minutes today on various items and the ARPA funds that need reimbursement. But I had a very good conversation with her and got some clarification and gave her some of my expertise as far as the path of where the solar panel may go with.
What's your gut feeling? I mean, I know you over under. Is it? Doesn't seem like it's.
I think anybody that has a legal right to do whatever they want with their property. There's so many issues here that the company has not asked for even an application yet for the site plan approval. Until that happens, I don't believe that legally they can change the zoning for the agriculture residential to light industrial or heavy industrial. It's classified as heavy industrial for the solar. And until they do that and it gets consideration from the board, you have to go to the zoning board and get that reclassified. Even though they have lease agreements and they don't own the property themselves, technically potentially anyways, and I'm not the lawyer involved in this, but they have a lawyer showing up on Monday night, that the landowners would have been required to get that change prior to getting into an agreement with the lease with the solar company to change the zoning, because at that point, you now no longer have a practical hardship to get the zoning correct. You have now put the hardship on the township and the residents rather than the other way around. And I think you'll understand that very well as a previous township supervisor. You can't have the hardship put on the township. You get a practical hardship, then you need to get that approved and or at least addressed by the Zoning Board of Appeals or the Planning Commission, and it has to be in compliance with the master plan and the vision in the master plan. Currently, that part of the property is not
included for the zoning that is required for the solar. But if they got a legal right and do everything in line, then the solar should be put in place. But
They don't have leases yet. They have options to sign a lease.
okay.
So they're not paying these people, they're not giving them a 30-year lease right now on their property or a 20-year lease.
Well, I'm not
Until-
sure about yourself, but in Riley Township, I was given a lease, a 10-year lease for potential gas exploration when they have directional drilling, and they paid me upfront money,
Correct.
whether they did it or not. And then the
$1,000
contract.
an acre?
What?
$1,000 an acre?
Correct. No, mine was $100 an acre.
There you go.
Yeah.
For 10 years, $10
Yes.
an acre a year. That's an,
It was a 5-year and then a 5-year automatic renewal unless they rejected it.
yeah, they've been doing it for years, right?
It's
I
standard,
leased my
standard
farm out
business. Yeah.
6 different times so far, and nobody's ever drilled a well on it.
Yep.
So that's all they're doing out there right now.
Yeah, and you know, with the directional drilling, you either sign up and get money, or if you don't sign up, you don't get the money, and they can still do directional drilling and get the gas from underneath your property.
So I just want to read, and I wanted to ask you that question, because this is going to come before this community a lot, right? So this is from DTE's IRP, Integrated Resource Plan, everything's an acronym in government. DTE's renewable energy portfolio currently includes 18 wind parks, 32 solar farms, all located in Michigan. Our 19th wind park, Meridian, is under construction, will be the large, blah, 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 blah. DTE's proposed plan would generate an additional 15,400 megawatts of renewable energy by 2042, which is 60% of the energy mix. DTE does not even produce 15,400 megawatts total. So when you're talking about getting to that number in wind and solar, they're going to be out there everywhere, and that's just a reality of, so I mean, you know.
And same thing, as you know, I serve as vice chair on the Planning Commission in Riley Township. A good percentage of this solar is going to be in Riley, so they'll be addressing it at our board. So we're going to be drafting ordinance at our meeting Monday night with all of our concerns for Riley Township. And with the write-in, they had a write-in that potentially, and they're going to verify it at the clerk's office, that Jason Downey defeated Terry Peters as a write-in candidate, but they need to verify the signatures and that it's correct. And approximately 100 signatures above and beyond what Terry Peters got, even though Terry Peters beat him in the primary. So Jason Downey's the current trustee sitting on the Wales Township Board, and he did win on a write-in, and it's quite an issue within Wales Township. So, but that's their issue, and I've talked to Liz, and I said, if you ever want me to be part, but they're the Board of Trustees, they're the elected officials, and the appointed boards, that's their decision to make.
Well, I think the important thing for these townships, and we facilitated some meetings, what was it, 4, 5, 6 years ago or whatever, the wind and solar, who wants it and who doesn't. So when these utility companies come to St. Clair County, identify if the particular communities want it. If they do, so be it, then that's where you do business. If they don't want it, then it eliminates a lot of these meetings, hard feelings, you know, so on and so forth. So I think it would be prudent that the townships determine themselves whether they want it or they don't.
Is that Greenwood and Grant for the wind turbines back then?
Well, it was turbines in general. And there again, there's only specific areas that they're looking. They're not, you're not getting solar down in Algonac or St. Clair or Marysville. You don't have large enough swaths of land. You don't have the ITC transmission line. It ain't gonna happen. There's only certain spots that it's gonna happen in St. Clair County. So those communities, to be able to identify if they're willing to even entertain it, would probably save, you know, should be something.
One of the concerns that was brought up, and Dave would be able to talk on that pretty, with an expert opinion on it. Doug Pratt, he's the fire chief of Memphis. He's our chair on the planning commission, so we're going to be addressing it Monday night. But do the fire departments have the resources and the expertise to potentially fight a 1,600-acre fire, electrical fire with solar panels? If not, that needs to be covered in the concerns for the township. And that's what we're going to be included in ours. And if they have a legal right, it should go forward, but you still have to take care of the residents.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, David. Duke?
I'll take a pass.
Greg?
I'm quiet.
Okay. Georgia?
Pass.
Lisa?
The community health needs assessment and the community health implementation plans are online. There's a wide variety of stakeholders working on that, more than just the health department. All that information can be found online at healthyscc.org.
Okay, I'm going to take a pass. Moving on, citizens wishing to address the board. Are there any? Yeah, fill a card out for me afterwards then.
I really just wanted to ask if, when you're speaking, commissioners, if you could make sure you're closer to the mic, because we can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Well, I could hear you okay, Commissioner Baumfine, but like when Commissioner McConnell and Commissioner Baldwin were speaking, and even Commissioner Beating, we couldn't hear what you guys were saying. So if you could just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to address the board?
You guys talk about bringing these solar panels in and taking up our farmland. When we take up wetlands, you had to replace the wetlands. So how many acres are you taking of farmland or of our woods that reproduce oxygen? And how are you replacing that? You know, everybody's go green, but you don't look at both sides of it. You know, you never know from one year how our farmland's gonna produce. And yet you want to take all these acres and take them up for the windmills or for the solar panels, and they're ugly. So am I a proponent of it? No. If we would have taken all that money that went into windmills and into solar panels and put it into our scrubbers, we could be burning clean coal and not having to destroy our land with these solar panels. So I don't know how you guys can deal with removing our farmland. We need it. We got Bill Gates running around buying all the farmland up and letting it go to seed and not planting anything. So, you know, we're looking at going into food shortages. I mean, I think there's a bigger picture, and I think you need to really think about what you bring into your community. Across the pond, they realized solar panels and windmills didn't work, and now DTE's taking their Midwest coal and sending it across the pond to the solar, or to the coal plants over there.
Okay, any other citizens? Okay, we're going to move on to the unfinished business. No unfinished business. Let's move on to item 11A. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I move to approve the October 2022 county disbursements in the amount of $33,937,358.70.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone,
Yes. Item B, item B.
I would make a motion to approve the 2023 state opioid response project funding grant application in the amount of $33,580 with no local match required.
Support, Beaton.
Just kind of off topic, same thing, but off topic a little bit. When are we going to start receiving the opioid settlement money, Carrie?
We anticipated receiving money prior to the end of this year. We have not received anything yet. There was an appeal filed by one of the counties regarding the distribution formula. So we're not entirely certain if that will slow down when the money will be distributed, or if we will still receive. I think we were scheduled to receive maybe $160,000 this year.
And that's earmarked for very specific purposes that you can use that money for.
Yep, that's correct. It must be used for prevention, education, and recovery efforts. And on that note, an internal group of stakeholders, all of the departments, including courts, public safety, health department, have been meeting to discuss what the best uses for those funds could be and to come up with a recommendation to present to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay, thank you. Going back to the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Item C.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Health Department's acceptance of the funds from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for the Community Needs Health Assessment and Community Information Exchange Planning Grants in the amount of $50,000. Funding will cover a one-year support agreement with the Interwest for Maternal and Infant Information Exchange Hub in the amount of $18,036, and the memorandum agreement with Blue Water Community Action for the provision of eviction homelessness prevention services for the period of November 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2023 in the amount of $25,000.
Support.
Discussion. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item D.
Before addressing that, Lisa, I sit up here and you know I'm hard of hearing. I could hardly hear what you said.
Perhaps we can get the volume
Yeah.
up. I can eat the mic, but I
Yeah.
don't want to get much closer to
I
it.
understand. And hopefully I'm not talking too loud because I thought I talked loud enough. But anyways, this time I'll make a motion to approve the Health Department request to close at 12 p.m. on 12/2/2022 for staff development.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item E.
I would make a motion to approve the one-year agreement with Thompson Reuters Westlaw for the St. Clair County Library System in the amount of $18,599.
Support, Beeden?
Roll call.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item F.
I'd move to approve the amended bylaws of the St. Clair County Library System Board of Trustees as presented.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item G.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 Crime Victims' Rights Program Grant Agreement, which will provide funding for 2.75 full-time crime victims' rights advocates and 85% of a CVR coordinator position for the period of 10/1/22 through 9/30/23 in the amount of $170,489 with no local match required.
Support, Beeden?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item H.
This time I move to approve fiscal year 2023 Recovery Court Grant Agreement for the term of 10/1/2022 through 9/30/2023 in the amount of $15,000, which is 100% state funded with no local match.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item I.
I would make a motion to approve fiscal year 2023 Office of Highway Safety Planning Grant Agreement for the period of 10/1/22 through 9/30/23 in the amount of $30,000. This is a 100% federally funded, no match grant.
Support, Baldwin?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item J.
This time I move to approve the 2021 Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding, CESF Program Grant Extension, which does not change the funding award, but will extend the grant term by 9 months until 9/30/2023.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item K.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve fiscal year 23 Michigan Mental Health Court Grant Program contract for the period of October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023 in the amount of $381,665.
Support, Baldwin?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item L.
This time I move to approve the 2023-2027 Capital Improvement Program as presented.
Support.
Discussion.
Just a note, the improvements on the building is included in the capital improvements as far as the roof on this building, correct?
That is correct. There are some roof improvements and some parking lot improvements that are included in there for building maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
How old is it, this, how old is this building?
This building, the staff moved into in early to mid 1999, so it's going on 23 years old.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item M.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to reappoint John Steffi to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board of Directors as District 7 representative for a 3-year term expiring 10/31 of '25.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item N.
And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Brownfield redevelopment grant application requesting up to $500,000 as presented.
Support.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, this would be our third opportunity. First time we received $1 million. A lot of that had to do with the Marysville plant down there. That's why that was so substantial. 400,000 previous and now 500,000. This has been a good mechanism to get a lot of these projects to be able to do some of the phase 1, phase 2s, on them and stuff to move forward. Has been used numerous times in lots of the development things that you've seen going on here. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Item O.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the St. Clair County Parks and Recreation fee schedule as presented.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item P.
Mr. Chair, I would move to adopt Resolution 22-51 approving the annual county at-large drain assessments in the amount of $664,519.92.
Support.
I see Mr. Wiley's here, so I am going to put him up on the hot seat, just because we never see you, Bob. We forgot what you look like.
Is Bob here?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, give us a 2-minute, what's going on, lots of drain cleaning.
Don't we get 3 minutes?
Go.
All right, so we last year came up with a proposed budget that the county at large would be, and that was, hopefully everybody can hear me. The budget for this year was supposed to be $714,473 for the work that we were going to do this year. But we actually came in lower than that by quite a bit, and we had a drain that we're going to be starting a petition project. And so somebody came up with the idea of possibly paying that off and still be below that budget that you had set for us for this this whole year. And, we're avoiding, I think, was it a 20-year?
It's going to be 10 years at 5%, so.
Yeah, so you guys chose to pay that off, not pay the interest, and you're still under the budget that we were supposed to have for this year. So, but we've been hammering out drains left and right, and Tony, our project manager here, is keeping things rolling, so it's pretty good. Any questions?
As I usually do, you get up and see us once a year. I think you've done a fantastic job in comparison to what was done prior to, and the amount of work being done. Of course, it's a lot more money being spent now, but a lot more work's getting done, and the drains have been a word neglected for a long time. So I just want to say thanks to our drain commission.
We're trying, I appreciate that.
Your department and your employees.
Yeah, when I got on the board, there was a serious backlog of a whole bunch of stuff, and it took a long time to catch up. And one of the things too, once you clean the drains and then you're able to get into a maintenance situation, the cost comes down too long term.
Right.
If you look at Sanilac County was very aggressive for a long time. Their at-large isn't even close to ours because it's much more of a maintenance versus all the engineering and all the other stuff that you have to do just to get some of these drains that haven't been cleaned for 50, 60, 70 years.
At least.
At least, yeah,
FDR.
so.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
What's that?
We have a drain that wasn't touched.
so I guess we, roll call. Thanks, Bob.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball.
Yes. Item Q.
I would make a motion to adopt Resolution 22-53, approving the MDOT contract for the continuing maintenance of the automatic weather observation system at the St. Clair County Airport through the year 2027.
Support Baldwin.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item R.
This time, I move to approve the 2023 Survey and Monument, you said this last year.
Remonumentation.
Nation Grant application in the amount of $106,235 with no matching funds required.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item S.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023 pension and retiree health care contribution rates as presented.
Support, Beeden.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item T.
This time, I move to adopt Resolution 22-59, approving a one-time retention payment for the County Association of Non-Union Employees, Canoe.
Support.
And this portion came out of some of the additional ARPA funds that we had used, correct?
Correct, that is a proposal.
Okay. Discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball.
Yes. Item U.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the District 2 American Rescue Plan project for the Port Huron Museum for Gratiot Post Hospital Restoration Project in the amount of $68,000.
Support, Beeden.
Discussion. Just a couple comments I'd like to make on the ARPA fund. So each commissioner did receive $500,000 to spend in their area. The commissioners, as I'm assuming all of them, because I have spoke to them, talked to the different township supervisors, identified different priorities, township supervisors, city managers, so on and so forth, and got a list of some additional projects to spend money on. I don't think anybody just dreamed up something on their own without talking to the other elected bodies in the other respective communities as to what their needs are. So kind of how process worked with the ARPA funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item V.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the District 2 American Rescue Plan project for the Township of Birchville Fire Department for the installation of a tower top amplifier to the Lakeport Tower site in the amount of $55,000.
Support.
Thank you.
I screwed up. The last one should have been a roll call, but
That's right.
it was unanimous, so you can change that. So discussion, roll call.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball.
Yes. Item W.
I would make a motion to approve District 1 American Rescue Plan project for Greenwood Township in the amount of $50,000 for the replacement of a concrete approach slab at the fire hall and a construction of a new pavilion at the Township Park.
Support Baldwin.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball.
Yes. X.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the pre-qualification contractors list, engineering services and architectural services as presented.
Support Baldwin.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Why?
I would move to approve Resolution 2242, waiving investment earnings on taxes collected by local units.
Support, Beeden.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item Z.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 22-45, establishing wages for canoe for 2023.
Second.
Carry 3.5% increase this year.
Yes, that is
in
correct.
wages? Okay. And I served on this board for a long time, and we were zeros for 6 or 7 years in a row. Employees end up paying 20% of their health care at the time, so it's still not up with the, and I know this is one of the things that I hear, is that the rate of, inflation is 7.98%. How much did we had a 4% uptick this year, I think, in value,
Yeah, that's a little over, it was around 5%.
around 5%, okay. So that's what we got to work with. David?
If I could, because I've been here a long time myself, and I was here when we took ahead, I just want to say thank you to all the employees. They're our biggest asset, and without the efforts of all of our employees in the county, we made everything work with the funds that we had available. So just another thank you for them.
So roll call.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Mr. Chairperson Bone.
Yes. Double A.
This time I move to adopt Resolution 22-46, establishing salaries for elected officials for 2023.
Support.
Discussion.
So
Roll-
when it says that we are entitled to the same benefits provided to Canoe, that is still not the retention, correct?
That's correct. That refers to the healthcare and different retirement and other benefits.
Thank you.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone.
Yes. AB.
This time I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 22-47, establishing compensation for members of the Department of Health and Human Services Board for 2023 and 2024.
Support, Rushing.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone.
Yes. AC.
I would make a motion to adopt Resolution 2248, establishing Board of Commissioners do not accept compensation for the 2020, accepting compensation for 2023-24 year.
Throw us under the bus on the way out the door.
Support Baldwin.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone.
Yes. Item AD.
I'm sorry, what are you on, Jeff?
AD.
AD. I'd move to adopt Resolution 2249, establishing per diems for boards and commissions.
Support.
So some discussion, Carrie. I saw something you had sent out earlier today to talk about.
Yeah, so at your last committee meeting, there were questions regarding our per diem amount. That amount has not been increased in quite some time. I actually can't recall it ever being increased since I've been at the county. So we did survey our comparable counties. Many counties do not provide a per diem at all for those that serve on boards and commissions. Some provided a $35 and some provided $50. So for those that do provide it, ours is a little bit low. I did go ahead and look at the membership of the boards that do receive a per diem along with the number of paid members, because we do have many boards where individuals serve on it, such as the retirement board. Myself, I'm on the retirement board. As an employee, I'm not eligible for the per diem. So just because there's 10 members on that board doesn't mean everybody receives payment. So when I looked at paid members and the estimated number of meetings per year, if the board would like to increase it to the $50 amount, which is the max amount that our comparables do, the cost would be about $9,500, assuming every paid member attended every scheduled meeting.
So comments.
I think $50 is, I don't think that's a lot of money, right? We're paying $30. I think We appreciate the people that put in their time. This is still a donation.
Well, when you got to drive in from K-Pac, round trip, I don't know, it's got to cost you X amount of dollars.
Well, you do
gas,
get
right?
mileage still, right? They do pay
Do they
some
get mileage?
for some, in some cases.
That is correct. Mileage is paid at the IRS amount, however, it is taxable to the employee.
Right, so I mean, there can be, but still, you're driving 35 minutes each way, so you got an hour or more that you're in a car and you're coming to a meeting that's a couple hours long and you're getting $30. And I know nobody's doing it for the money, but I just would think that if we went up to $50, it would just show the appreciation.
It's been 30 the whole 18 years that I've been here.
I serve, like I said, as vice chair, and vice chair gets a little more than regular members, but regular members for the planning commission in Riley are 50, I get $65. And some of our meetings last a little while here, but rarely, I mean, ours lasts 3.5 hours every Monday that we have a meeting, 3 to 3.5 hours. We show up at 7 and we have pretty long meetings. I think 50s, if you want to have 50s more than, if not, might not even be enough. So to get people to serve and really be dedicated, that's a small price to pay.
Huh?
I agree.
So would I have somebody make a motion, I guess amend the motion to do we need to amend it to make the 50, or do we just?
Yes, we would need an amended motion for whatever
I'll
the board
revise
would
my
like it.
motion.
Okay, revise your motion to up the pay to $50 per.
Yes, sir.
Who made the second?
Nobody yet.
I'll second.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Baldwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone.
Yes. Item AE.
Hold on, is that mine?
I don't know who has the motion, but
AE.
Ask me. I move to adopt resolutions 2250, adopting the 2023 general fund budget as presented.
Support.
Discussion.
can we have just an overview of
Yeah.
Is that okay? Thanks. It's kind of a big amount.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So at the last meeting, I handed out the budget packet for the 2023 budget. We are presenting a balanced budget for 2023 with revenues and expenditures in the amount of $67,386,735. This is a 3.48% increase from the 22 amended budget, which is also a $2.2 million increase. Some items that are included are 4% increase to property taxes, a 6% increase to county revenue sharing. That includes a 5% base increase and then a one-time 1% increase. There's also 3.5% wage increase for all employees. For the pension contribution, we've increased it 1% for a total of 28%. That should ensure that we cover our required contribution and also help offset losses that we've experienced in '22. We're also continuing with the 6% contribution to the retirement health care system. We've also seen an increase in healthcare costs of 5.83% this year, which is a significant increase over the last 2 years. Those were less than 1%. Department budgets have remained relatively flat. We did adjust line items for supplies and utilities, fuel and inmate medical costs. We're also proposing to add $400,000 to the Public Improvement Fund for a backlog of capital improvement projects. We're also adding an additional $100,000 to the insurance fund for liability purposes. I know this year we're gonna be getting back about 600,000, but the last 2 years was only about 300. So that additional contribution is needed to keep up with those expenses. We also have a budgeted contingency of about 224,000 for any unexpected things that might happen next year. The manning table adjustments, we're proposing to add a part-time account clerk to purchasing. Right now, we have one person that's doing all of the purchasing for the county. So this part-time position would help, on the daily tasks. We also are proposing to add to revise 2 part-time animal care technicians to full-time. They've had a lot of turnover in there in that department with the temporary staff. So moving them to full-time will give a lot more coverage for that department and hopefully help with their turnover. Also, the prosecutor's office is requesting to change the temporary investigator position to a full-time investigator position. That would be covered with budget incentive funds, so that's fully funded. The general fund balance is still about 16.7% of budgeted expenditures, which is within our fund balance policy. I want to mention that next month we'll be bringing the 2023 Special Revenue Fund budgets to the board for approval, which will include the American Rescue Plan Fund as well as the Convention Center. Does anybody have questions?
David?
Just because we occasionally need some humor up here, and Duke gave me a little hard time, but I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago when I found a $1 error. Jeff mentions if you want to fall asleep, read this stuff. Well, I actually read this stuff and I go through it page by page to see if there's an error, and I couldn't find a single error. So.
Good.
Good. Price Waterhouse.
Anyone else? Just a couple comments. So when I first got on the board, our budget was $62 million. It was 18 years ago, served through obviously one of the worst downturns ever. We're fortunate we have increased our fund balance every single year that I've been on the board. Kudos to Gary, Bob Kemp, Carrie, now you, through really bad times. And we had, we had really good budgeting forecasts, not that it was always fun to watch the charts go, but we were able to, as people retired out through the county, we were able to have people through attrition, so we didn't have to, I hate to say, show anybody the door. And it's just, ultimately as commissioners, we can philosophically differ this, but our role is to keep the fiscal integrity of the county in shape. And the 18 years that I'm on the board, that I've been on the board, I'm proud to say that we have kept the fiscal integrity. We've kept our bond ratings up. We've increased our fund balance. We've done it through, call it difficult, but call them necessary decisions. So once again, you never had the luxury of sitting in this room during budget, 100 people, and we were up here and it was battle royal and everybody was red faces, hard feelings, and I still can't believe you guys do this without a bunch of hard feelings and red faces. So kudos. Anybody else? Roll call.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. AF.
This time I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 22-52, adopting the 80-20 cost-sharing model for health insurances as set forth in the Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act.
Support, Baldwin.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. AG.
At this time, I move to adopt Resolution 22-54, establishing compensation to be paid to members of the St. Clair County Road Commission for 2023.
Support.
Discussion. I think Carrie's going to touch a little bit about this in her report, but we are losing, Bill Bloomrick is going to be retiring. We talked about the, posting for a couple weeks, how we get the notices out. I'll let Carrie handle that, but I just want to let everybody know, and she can cover that in her report. Roll call.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item AH.
This time I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 22-56, authorizing the transfer of $700,000 to the I-69 International Trade Corridor, Next Michigan Development Corporation, St. Clair Number 1, Next Michigan Development Area, LDFA, to be used by the LDFA for acquiring 2 parcels of real property, approximately 23.19 acres from the city of St. Clair.
Support.
And we will be getting paid back in a relatively short period of time for this too, through the tax capture. I think there's 1.3 million, give or take, that is incapturable taxes for the new expansion that's happening in the St. Clair Industrial Park. So for the land and some water and sewer and some other improvements that are necessary for that. So roll call.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. AI.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to adopt resolutions 2260 for the St. Clair County Parks to apply for funding for ground wall construction at North Channel County Park, which requires a 25% local match commitment of a not to exceed amount of $37,500 that will be funded out of the Parks and Recreation budget.
Support, Beeden?
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item AJ.
This time I move to adopt Resolution 22-62, ratifying collective bargaining agreement, St. Clair County Prosecuting Attorneys Association for the period of 1/1/2023 through 12/31/2024.
Support.
Discussion.
I have a question for Carrie. On the resolution, it specifically, or it states in there, certain employees, but it doesn't give a detailed, correct?
It would be the employees recognized under that bargaining unit in the recognition clause.
Okay. I'm comfortable with it, it's just certain employees, so.
Anybody else? Roll call.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Administrators report.
I will start with the road commission position. There will be a vacancy on the road commission board, so there will be an advertisement in Sunday's newspaper letting people know of the vacancy and that we are asking people to apply by November 30th. We will then review the applications to ensure that they live in the proper district, and those will be presented to the Board of Commissioners, and you should be able to make a decision on December 8th. As part of that process, depending on how many applications we receive, I'll be looking for direction if you would like to have all of the applicants come in and be able to speak at that meeting, or if you will want to perhaps narrow those down a little bit. But if we receive them by the 30th, we should have them for you to look at for your committee meeting in December. However, we might not be able to verify their residency in the district in that short of a turnaround time, depending on the applicants.
May I ask real quick on that, the existing road commissioners, do they have input? Or, I mean, I haven't been on this since, but, I mean, they have any input on who their fellow commissioner?
So these positions are appointments of this Board of Commissioners. Certainly, I would suggest that you could solicit input from those members of the board if they know any of the candidates that apply, if they have any feedback for you.
Yeah, Bloomrick's been here longer than I have, and so is Tim Lalonde, so, and it's, I don't want to say they're getting old, that's why they're getting old, but they did their time.
Right, well, they would know better what what quality someone should have, than I may, so, just curious.
So there is information on the county's Facebook page as well on how to apply. And kind of on the heels of that is an administrative project we have been working on is having an update on our website for all the different boards and commissions that citizens can serve on. So it's easy for them to find what boards are available, what those boards do, how often they meet, and when vacancies may occur, so they know how to apply. We're hoping to have that done prior to the end of the year, but unfortunately, I think it might probably be shortly after the first of the year once we get that complete. The ambulance agreements have been coming in for the distribution of the ambulance millage funds. We have received 20 of them back so far. We do intend to start bringing them to you next month, so you'll see at least 20 different agreements on your December agenda. They're all the same agreements. It's a standard agreement for the distribution of the ambulance funds. So when you see those 20 items on your agenda next month, I know December's typically busy, but we're hoping to get most of that cleaned up by year end, or as many as we can. There was an open house last Thursday evening to discuss the Marine City corridor, the findings from the consultant Wade Trim. It's my understanding that it was very well attended and there was lots of feedback received. So they will be incorporating that feedback, and there should be a draft report to the board early next year for your review. Dina already indicated that the special revenue fund budgets will be coming to you next month for your approval, and as part of that, there will also be the final budget adjustments for all funds on December 8th. And last, just an update on the retirement fund. The retirement board met this week, and our retirement fund, unfortunately, is still down 15.7%, but it did rebound a little bit in October and was up 4% in October. That's all I have this evening, unless anyone has questions.
So you don't, it didn't show the November.
No, we had our quarterly September 30th was the, and then a preliminary October.
Okay. All right.
Any questions for Carrie? Motion for administrators' reports?
So move.
Support. Baldwin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Miscellaneous business. I have one item. I spoke to Artie Bryson, spoke to Denise. They're working on the authority, IRA, the three of them, to form their own authority. The county currently runs their wastewater facility. County's getting out of that. So they're not going to be able to hit some of their original deadlines and timeframes. They're asking for, an extension. And I said, we've been doing it 50 years. Another 5 months isn't going to kill us or whatever, so some things. So we're actually going to get a meeting together. I know they just sent out the little Google thing to see what works for people, just to talk about next steps, what do you need, so on and so forth. And kind of coincides with some of the 26-mile road conversations and different things, that we're looking at. And I think the board knows, why 26? We're getting more inquiries in Georgia. You talk to Christy Jones all the time. There's so many inquiries that are coming in this office right now, EVs, so on and so forth. We are shortlisted for, I'm not going to say the company, but it's a $3 billion investment right now we're shortlisted for, with 800 jobs. That's the kind of significance that we're seeing in these things. So then truthfully, a lot of them we can't even respond to because we don't have the 600, 800 acres, and it's just true. I think it's nice to see that they're looking at southeastern Michigan. So whether you like the EV thing, whether you hate it, whether you whatever, it's still going to be the next generation of things that are happening. And I'd sure in the heck would rather see it happen in southeastern Michigan than see it go to Tennessee or somewhere else. So, I think we're in good shape for, additional investments, long-term investments in the region. So good stuff.
I've just got something.
Yes.
Once again, I'm going to bring up the contracts have been signed with the Convention Center, Doubletree, and the Holiday Inn, that the Zweibrücken Alumni Association from class 1971 70 to 71, which I attended in Zweibrücken, Germany, through 1991. All the individuals are coming to Port Huron. Contracts have been signed. That's going to happen June 23rd through the 30th, I believe, the biggest window, but most of the individuals will be here for 4 days.
Very cool, from all over, everywhere.
Yeah, and then about a dozen to 2 dozen are going to arrive at my place on Sunday before it actually starts and stay at the farm.
Yeah, very cool, David. Good job. Receive and file?
I would make the motion to receive and file packets were sent to commissioners' packets at their places and any other information presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed. Item 15, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Support?
All in favor? Aye. Aye. We are adjourned.